All right, welcome to the live stream. Today we're going to be doing a full body dumbbell workout. And if you are interested, you're welcome to join me in this workout. It's going to be a follow along workout. If you have any questions, let me know. So I'm going to go ahead and get started though. We're going to get right into it with legs today. So I want to start with the legs because I find that that's the most tiring part of the workout. I had been leaving them till the end, and I feel like that is costing me gains in my legs because I'm already so tired. I don't get effective exercises of that, so I'm going to get those out of the way right at the beginning. So I'm going to start out by warming up my legs with some lunges, and then we're going to go into weighted lunges. So what I'm going to do is start with just some body weight lunges, getting some blood flow into my legs. I really want to build up more in my legs, especially in the glutes, and then some in the quads for my knees as well. I feel like I used to have much stronger legs back when I used to train in martial arts more, and I've lost some of that flexibility, some of that strength in my legs, and I want to make sure that I build those back up again. So I'm reprioritizing those legs. Oh, hang on a sec. Just need to make sure I'm monitoring my heart rate. All right, we're good. Now on this one, I'm gonna be just going one exercise to the other with not very much of a break. Trying to get a lot of stuff packed into this time. So if you need to take a break between sets, feel free to step out a set and then rejoin on the next one. Just getting some blood flow into my legs, doing about 10 of these per side. And then also gonna warm up for a dumbbell hip bridge. So I'm gonna have to experiment around with this one a little bit. What I wanted to try is resting the dumbbells right on my hips, and then bridging up to the front. Whoop. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. So I'm doing this with a little bit lighter of a weight. I think I'm gonna do it like this. A little bit lower. We're playing around with it a little bit today because I've not done this exercise with dumbbells before. I think that's the best it's gonna be. Pushing down through the heels. This is a warm-up weight though. I'm doing it with slightly lighter dumbbells. Yeah, I think that's gonna be good. I'll just have to do heavier and see how it feels with that. So it took a couple minutes warming up. Grabbing a quick sip of water. So we're going to be going through multiple sets of these exercises. You're welcome to join me. So we're doing paired muscle groups, trying to get two muscles, sets of two working. So quads are more dominant in the lunges. Then we're really going to emphasize the glutes with the hip bridges. So I'm going to grab two dumbbells. I'm going to have these down at my sides. I'm going to step forward with one foot, lunging down to the ground. I'm aiming for about 10 of these. Oh man. I'm really trying to bend my knee to hit those quads. Ooh, man, I can really feel it. 8 and 8. I think that's about my limit for that today. Whew. And going straight in to glute bridges. Whew. All right. And feet tucked in, pushing down through your heels, bringing your hips up. Feel that in the back of your hips. The dumbbells are hitting the ground a little bit. I might have to rethink this because I'm losing right here. All the weight disappears. It's one of the hard things about the dumbbell for that one. So I might need to put the dumbbell right on the front of my hips because it digs into the hip bone a little bit. Maybe I'll put it up more by my thighs, like this. That doesn't quite work either. I'll have to think about that one. All right. And man, can really feel that in my legs. Grab a quick sip of water. Heart is really going. So for me, I found that it was hard to do a pistol squat, which is where you have one foot out to the front and single leg bend down. And I really want to increase the strength of my legs to be able to get up with one leg, improve my balance. So if you're interested in getting a similar goal, I encourage you to try these exercises with me. You know, if you need to, you could even start with unweighted lunges and slowly build up the weight. Or start with a lighter dumbbell. You want to go to where you can do more than 5 of any given exercise. So we're going right into it with set number 2 of weighted lunges. And that's 1. And 2. The whole goal with this though, while I'm doing this, is to help normalize working out for people and starting. I feel like a lot of people get discouraged working out. So they're not where they feel like they should be. 5. And they lose hope that it'll get better. And because it changes slowly. 7 and 7. Oh gosh. Okay. So for me, I feel that sometimes too. Over the weekend, I was looking back at old photos back from 2021, and it was amazing. I thought I'd look very similar to how I do now, but I find my shoulders are now wider, my stomach is smaller, but unless I had that picture, I never have that to go look back on. So it's a very slow change, but there is change and there is hope. And that's why I really want to help people get through is when it's hard, being there for somebody to help them get started and keep going. Because the way you make changes is one small step at a time. Your body doesn't wake up one morning and suddenly you're super buff, but little changes over time add up to a big difference. So now going to glute bridges. Let's see. I'm gonna try this just a little bit different way. Try and make it so the dumbbells don't bump into the ground. Whew. So, trying a new exercise today, doing glute bridge. Trying to make it so it doesn't dig into my hip bones, but also doesn't hit the ground. I might try it a little bit different. Hang on. Let's try this. That works better. So we're gonna put one dumbbell as heavy as you need, right on top of your stomach, right over the top of your belly button, and bridging up and then back. Like that, because it keeps the weight on it. So I'm using my hands to keep it right over the top of my hips. My knees out. So I feel that in my glutes. I might need to do more reps on this one than I would with double dumbbell though. And roll the dumbbell off. Yeah, I think that's definitely the way to do it, with one dumbbell right over the top of the hips. So we're playing around with it, finding what's more effective for our body type. Everyone's a little different. If you need some help, let me know in the chat and I'll do what I can to help out figuring out a better way of doing it for everybody. For some people, double dumbbell is fine. For me, found really needed to be single right over the top of the hips. All right. Oh, my legs definitely are feeling this more. I think that's the hard thing in working out, is the delayed gratification of it. This is what you do in the gym. It takes some time for that to actually show up in the mirror. But so I know for me, sometimes it's easy to be discouraged because it's such a small change over time. Changes slowly but surely. So it's much more of a marathon than it is a sprint. I like to sprint. I like to be, I want to just go hard and be done. And with working out, with resistance training, it's what can you do over the period of months. Because that's where the changes show up, is over time. But they do show up, and I want to encourage you, if you're just starting today or if you've been going for a while and feel like it's going slow, sometimes it can be helpful to look back at where you've come from. It's like climbing a mountain. You're climbing slowly, feels like you're making no progress, but then when you get to spot where you can go look down, see where you've come from, you're way up high altitude all of a sudden, because those little movements up the mountainside gets you further than you think. It's just not stopping, not letting go, not tumbling back down that mountain. It's so easy to give up, and I just want to encourage you guys to press on. You can make it. You might have an Everest, but you can climb that. It's just one hand grip at a time. Same thing, it's one workout at a time. Just one foot in front of the other. going back to lunges. This is my third set. I'm gonna try for 3 sets today of each of these. Starting out with the legs, just going right into it. 1. Oh man, that left side, 2, is a lot harder. 2, 3, I'm putting all my weight on my front leg. 4, 5, I got to 7 last time, trying for the same number if I can. 5, 6, and last one, 7. It's really burning now. And 7. It's good, that's muscle fatigue. That means the muscle's growing. Heart's really going too. So if you ever work out like this, where you go one exercise to the next, you can actually get a cardio workout in at the same time. It will slow down a little bit of your gains, but if you're looking to just burn calories and get a hybrid workout, then going one exercise to the next can burn a lot of calories. And going for a glute bridge, dumbbell right over the top of your hips. I found that this works the best for me. Let me know in the chat if this is working well for you too. This is similar to a hip thruster. This is called the glute bridge though, because my shoulders are on the ground instead of a bench. So one thing I forget typically is the name of each of these exercises. But this one I'm pretty confident on. Let me know though if you have a different name for this exercise. Oh, my hamstrings are cramping as I'm doing this. Or they're feeling like they're cramping. And that's 15. Oh. Now it's 3 sets on legs. So I'm trying for 3 sets on legs because I think that's about the limit of what I can do. My legs are pretty well tired out, but I can feel, they almost feel swollen because the blood flow into the legs. So that's a good sign that I've hit a good point with my legs. I don't think going more would be helpful at this point. I'd like to start more moderate. I can always add more in future workouts. But if I miss a workout because I went too hard, which is what I tend to do, I tend to go too hard too early and then have to slow down. I think that's part of discipline for me, is not going too fast where I just hit that gas pedal and go too fast right off the beginning. It's going incrementally up, taking that one step at a time, not trying to skip steps. I think that's a big source of discouragement too. People want to skip steps, where they go from step 1 to step 4, and step 4 is really hard for them. So they're like, oh, I can't keep going at this pace. It's too hard, I can't make it. So just going incremental steps, just start with manageable weight and slowly increase it. And that's how you get the most consistent gains, is just small increment steps at a time. Now practically, if I was to put a number on that, let's say you're lifting a 5-pound dumbbell. I wouldn't go from a 5-pound to a 10-pound. That's skipping steps. Go from a 5-pound dumbbell to a 6 or a 7-pound dumbbell and try and incrementally step up just a little bit, or maybe add a rep or 2. And that's how you're going to get those changes over time, rather than trying to leap over chasms is just one step at a time climbing that mountain. Okay, so now I'm gonna shift to upper body. So I'm gonna be doing bench press and rows, because what I like about those is it's a compound movement, meaning it gets a lot of muscles all at once. So with the bench press, I'm hitting all these front muscles, the chest muscles, the deltoids, the tricep, all at once, some of the wrist muscles, and then I'm doing the row for all these back muscles, the biceps, the lats. So I'm hitting a large group of muscles at the same time. So instead of doing one muscle per exercise, I'm hitting a ton of muscles per exercise. Like 4, 5, 6, maybe more muscles all at once. Whew. So for the bench press, I'm pretty well warmed up. I'm gonna try just one warm-up set to see how my shoulders are doing. I'm gonna drop the weight just a little bit. So I don't want to skip steps either. So I'm warming up the shoulders a little bit before I go straight into it. I'm generally warm, but my shoulders are not warmed up yet. I can feel they're a little stiff as I'm doing these. But as I do this, it smooths out. And I'm gonna try some bent over rows, like these two, because they strengthen the back. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna hinge at the hips, keeping my back straight, and point up to the back. Turn these a little so they don't bump my knees. So I'm gonna take just a minute between these. I'm glad I warmed up that, because as I'm doing that, I can feel my legs are shaking a bit. They're still pretty fatigued from those lunges. Whew. So I'm gonna just give a couple minutes, let my heart rate drop back down, so this muscle is not limiting my upper back. I feel unstable. I'm gonna modify this a little bit, actually, so I can go straight in. So I'm gonna use the bench for those rows. So I'm gonna use an incline bench and do a stabilized row. So going here, letting my arms hang down and pulling up to the back. Hang on, I'm gonna shift just a little to miss that bar. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, that's gonna be better. So I'm just adjusting just a little bit today. Now, if you don't have a bench like this, but still have the dumbbells, you can always use the back of a chair, hold onto it and do a row one hand at a time, using sort of a chair for support. Okay. Yeah. What I'm doing is I want to modify this to help reduce my risk of injury. Because the biggest thing to shut me down would be getting injured. Especially when I'm tired, it's so much easier to get injured. So that's why, again, I'm tempted to skip a warm-up rather. But if I did that, I would never have known I needed to change this exercise. You know, 1 second before I start. Wild Food Review says, Gregory, I'm with you, sir. Hey, good to see you. Doing the Lord's work. Excellent. That's so good to hear. All right. Glad you're joining us. We're going right into bench press. And yeah. So whenever you do, work out with all your heart, right? So we're doing our best. And sometimes that means going slowly so that we can work the best we can. Not rushing, but being patient with ourselves. I think a lot of people lose hope because they're not patient with their body. And I know that's a struggle for me of I want more muscle right now or less fat right now. So I go to extremes. And I think that building patience and just taking the next step makes it so it feels less overwhelming. It's just one step at a time. Can't do 3 or 4. And, oh. Wild Food Review says, I'm using my piano bench with dumbbells. Hey, that's great. That is a great idea. As long as it can support the weight, which usually piano benches are pretty good. So that's a creative way of doing that. I like that. Being creative with what you have. Very innovative. All right, now going to supported rows. Now, if you need to, what you could do is still, if you're using a piano bench for supported rows, you can put one hand on the bench, let one hand hang off, and do a row this way. Especially if your bench doesn't have any ability to incline, but that will work just as well too. All right, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get to 10 on this. We'll see. All right. I'm just going to what I can. There we go. So working those upper back muscles. Whoa. Oh, 10 might be a bit much. So for me, oh, I see you have a message. Hang on a second. Let me read what you said. It says, honestly, I see so many useless streams. This is a stream that is educational and healthy, both mentally and physically. I seriously hope you get the proper viewers you deserve. Hey, thank you. I so appreciate that. I appreciate that you're here, because you are who I'm looking for. I want to help, whether it's motivation or someone to work out with, or if you need help understanding what to do better, or if I can help in any way. That's why I'm here. So thank you for being here. Thank you. I so appreciate the encouraging words. And it's awesome you're working out with. So that's what we're doing here. I want to inspire people to get healthy and get active, and whatever is holding them back, I want to help them get them through that. So we can be an encouragement to one another. If you need a friend, I'm here for that. If you need some help, I can help coach. But either way, I'm glad you're working out with me. I think it's so easy. I think it's so easy to give up if we go alone. And I'm here to say that you're not alone. We can help build each other up and encourage one another. So, and if you need help on a particular exercise or need to brainstorm something, I'm here for that too. So, we're gonna go back into bench press. Grab these weights. I think this is set number 2. So I'm trying for 3 sets today. Whew. Doing the upper body right now. So I'm gonna kick those up to get them in position right over the top of my shoulders. I like this one because it gets so many of the so many muscles at once in one exercise. And when we do multiple sets, we work the muscle more completely. And so you can build up more muscle mass by doing multiple sets, and it'll build it up faster than if you do a single set. As long as you're going to near failure. Oh, and that's it for me there. That is near failure. So I'm gonna set these down for just a quick second. So I want to talk about that just briefly. So you want to get near that what's called muscle failure, where you can't do another rep, where you try and push and it doesn't go up anymore. You want to try and get within just a couple of that. So we want to get close to there, but we don't want to hit there, because as you get closer to that point, fatigue goes way up right at the end. So we want to go close to where we hit that sweet spot of muscle building, but still low fatigue, because that's what's going to get you back into the gym next time. I used to go a lot more to failure, and that limited the number of sets I could do per week, which has limited my muscle growth. If I could go back to my 20s and do it differently, that's what I would do. But I mean, it's no good to live in the past. I think that's such an easy thing to do, and it tears down your present. So I think that, try and not talk with my water bottle in my hand. So I think that what we do now is the important thing of trying to hit that point where you're just a couple underneath that failure point where you feel like you couldn't push another rep. All right, and going into set number 2 for incline press or incline row. Oh. So if you're just joining us, we're doing a follow along workout. I'm doing upper body right now. You're welcome to do this with me. Doing a supported row using a bench. Working the muscles of the upper back, and the biceps, and the lats. So this is working a lot of muscles all at once. 9 and 10. Oh. Nope. That's as far as they go on that one. Let's see. I'm gonna set these up like this and slide back. Got a little bit trapped there. Oh, I forgot to switch the camera. Sorry about that, guys. It's definitely getting to that fatigue point in the workout. So if you don't have a bench like this, it's totally fine. You could use a standard flat bench. It'll work just as effectively. And like Wild Food Reviews said earlier, he was trying this with a piano bench instead, or a more standard bench. Definitely works. So Wild Food says, I remember one time I was benching at the gym and I was doing my last set, my muscles gave out and I had the bar fell on my neck. No one was around to help me, and I managed to throw it off me. Hey, I'm glad you were able to get it off you. That is a very dangerous situation. I think it's really important to, especially with barbells, really any workout is a little bit risky. And so having people around that can help you, if you're in trouble, if you can shout, call out to someone, get help there. And for me, I have people around when I work out, more than just whoever's on the live stream, but I have people that I know I could call if something were to happen. So I think that's such a good reminder to be safe, well, and knowing what your limits are for sure. It's well said. Good reminder for all of us. That's one of the reasons I like the dumbbells, because there's no bar that goes across my chest. So if I get to down here and I can't push it back up, I can always drop it behind me. It's not great for the floor, but at least it's better that it breaks the floor than breaks me. So, because that's one of the reasons I like the dumbbells better for these exercises, because I can get them away from my body where I'm not gonna drop them on myself. But yeah, definitely be safe. Some people use safety spotters in a rack like this. Those are another great idea if no one's around to help you. Having that mechanical safety, definitely very good. I do not use kettlebells. So I got asked, do you use kettlebells? I don't, because I don't own any. I may in the future, but I haven't. I use the adjustable weight dumbbells because I find they're a better cost per weight option for me. Because usually, I think these set of dumbbells cost somewhere around $300, and it would be like $600 to buy a set of fixed dumbbells or kettlebells. So I find it's just more space saving and a better cost for what I want to do. But kettlebell is definitely a great option. You could do a kettlebell press as well. If you have two kettlebells, sort of the circle handle right here, and the ball right about your elbow, you could do a bench press with a kettlebell as well. So, gonna keep on going for my last set of bench press. So this is the third set. And kicking up. I want these right over the top of my shoulder. And as I go down, I'm touching the inside of my chest. Now, I like the dumbbells for that because I can get all the way down without having the bar hit my chest. So if I was doing this with the barbell, the bar would be right at my chest. So even if I had safety spotters, it would be hard to get out from under the bar. I'd have to push it down towards my hips. That's the thing too. If you do have a barbell instead of a dumbbell, if it does go bad, you want to try and get it down towards your hips, away from your throat. I would never recommend benching alone though. And I'm not alone here, just so you know. I have people pretty close by. So, always be safe. Hey, you're welcome, yeah. And if you have a different piece of equipment and you want ideas on how to use it, there's a lot of really great ways of using the same piece of equipment. Sometimes we can adjust to make it work for you. Sometimes a little bit of tweaks. Sometimes some people it's easier when the kettlebell's over the top of their arms. Some people better under. For your shoulder, is figuring out what feels good on your shoulder. When do you go down with the dumbbells on the bench press? When you go down, are your arms supposed to go 90 degrees? Or do they dip a little further? So when I go down, they dip a little bit further. Let me show you. So what I'm doing, so this is about 90 degrees. You can see where my hand is relative to my chest. There's a big gap there. What I'm trying to do is bring that dumbbell to tap the inside of my chest. So for doing that though, I don't need my elbow up here at my shoulder height. That elbow can drop in a little bit towards your rib cage, so that way it stays comfortable on your shoulder. Some people, it's comfortable to do that all the way up here. For me, I have to bring my elbow a little bit down and I'm bending a little past 90. So this would be 90 and this would be square to my shoulder. So I'm pulling it a little bit down towards my rib cage and letting my elbow drop a little bit lower than my shoulder. So trying to go all the way to where my dumbbell touches. Does that make sense? Hopefully that's clear. So not up here. This would be more like a barbell bench press, but I find that my shoulder mobility limits me a little bit more here. Having a little more down here is a little more comfortable on my shoulders. So instead of being here, I'm actually more like here, and dropping all the way back. So let me know if that was clear. You know, sometimes it's a little hard to see at given angles. All right. And on the supported rows, I'm angling my hands about 45 degrees. So there's not thumbs pointed up, not thumbs in, but sort of thumbs at an angle. Yes, sir. For the full bar bench, you go 90 as well. For the full bar bench, usually the barbell limits you going past 90. Yeah, you go probably about 90 is where, or touch the bar to your chest or your pecs. But usually the barbell limits that a little bit. You want to try and touch that bar to your chest and then come back up. All right. I need to come up a little bit higher. I was trying to avoid the bar underneath my bench, but I need to come up here to let full hang. I need to go higher. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And, oh, all right. Yeah, I would say the important thing on the bench press is if you're going down, go to where what's comfortable in your shoulder. If you have pain in the front of your shoulder, don't go down through that pain. Just go right before it and then back up. And then, or try dropping the weight a little bit and then seeing if there's pain. If the pain goes away, try to the lower weight but keep that full range going. So if you look at my hands go right to chest level. So that means the bar is going to be right here at your chest. You don't want to go here where the bar is out in front of your chest, because this range right in here is actually more muscle building. Probably. It seems the current studies that are being done seems that really opening up your chest by going down low is where that muscle building occurs. So if you don't go all the way down, you're cheating yourself out of at least half the rep. Okay, so now I'm gonna switch the views. I need to adjust the dumbbells real quick. We're gonna do just a little bit more for arms. Okay. So I'm gonna drop the weight down for this. So I'm gonna do this one arm at a time. So for this, I'm gonna kneel down. I'm gonna put my arm, I'm gonna change the camera angle for this, hang on. Just realized it's hard to see this one. I'm gonna move this like that. Then bring it back over here. All right, so for this, I'm gonna kneel down. I'm gonna put my elbow on the top of the bench, go down, tap the bench with my arm, and come back up. I'm trying to lean away from that dumbbell. I think this is called a preacher curl. I'm terrible with exercise names. It's the one thing I can never remember all the different names of these exercises. So if you know, let me know in the comments or the chat. What is the name of this curl? I like this one because I really feel like I get an extension, where I can really feel that bicep working. Trying to go all the way down to the bench. And then back up. So what that's doing is it's letting me get that fully lengthened position. So Wild Food says preacher curl. I think you're right. That's the name I have heard. So I'm glad that someone else is saying the same thing. I like this because my elbow doesn't go anywhere, so I can really focus on feeling that in the bicep. I find standing curls, I can curl a lot more. I can curl a 40-pound dumbbells for reps, but I just never feel it in my bicep. I always feel it in my arm first. And this, I can actually feel the tension in that bicep. I think I did 12 on the other side. So I'm gonna do one more. So it's symmetrical. Oh. So I wanna build slightly bigger arms. That's why I'm doing an isolation exercise on this one. So I'm adding a little more arm work. Wild Food says there's always 3 to 4 names for exercises. Tell me about it. It's hard to keep them all straight. Yeah, good question. So Wild Food also asks, do I take a pre-workout? I don't do a pre-workout. I know some people do, and a lot of them have more caffeine in them, which is not necessarily bad. I just personally don't feel they're necessary for me, and they can get kind of expensive. And my understanding on them is there's not a huge difference between what you can do on them versus off them. Some people feel like they can do more, and some of that it might actually be placebo. But I think that if it gets you to the gym or gets you into your workout and helps you do that, I think that they could be a good thing for that. I think that if it helps you get there, that's great. As long as it's not, as long as you're having a high quality one that doesn't have a lot of things that are, a lot of sugars, a lot of things that are potentially problematic for you, or a lot of calories. Because some of them can be like a milkshake, and people take a lot of it and build up, aren't accounting for those calories. But and also, you have heard salt is a good pre-workout. Is that true? So what I will say about salt is that you sweat out salt while you're working out. So you want to make sure you have, you get salt coming in as well. Especially if you work out for a long period of time. Salt is an electrolyte. It's used in your nerve cells. And if you don't have enough of it, your body actually, it can be a medical emergency. Where you see this in marathon runners sometimes, they drink things with electrolytes because they're sweating out salt, and if they don't replace that, they can actually have extra fatigue or faint or things like that. And so it's important in that sense to have some salt, maybe a little bit of salt dissolved in water, or a sports drink has electrolytes like salt, potassium, magnesium usually, and so they'll help replace those electrolytes you're losing during the workout. So in that sense, I do think salt is an important part of more post-workout than pre-workout. But yeah, that's what I would say about salt. And how do you know when to add weights? That is a great question. So what I would do is only add weights from week to week. So let's say you're working out at 10 pounds. What I would do is after 1 week, try going for 11 or 12 pounds, just bumping it up just a little bit. Usually at most 5%. So if you're at, let's say, a week or two, try just increasing it by just a half plate. Or on these dumbbells, I can do, each of these plates is 5 pounds, and then there's a middle plate that's, I believe, 2.5 pounds. So every week or two, I'm trying to increase this just a little bit, or add reps. That's the other thing you can do, is add reps at the end. I'm gonna stop chatting for a minute though, because I need to keep on going. We're coming up on an hour. I want to try and get these last 2 sets in before the end of the hour. But these are great questions. I really like that you're asking them. So, I just did bicep, and now I'm going to do tricep. So I'm going to do some what are called skull crushers, is the name I've heard for them. So, what I like to do more than adding weights, there we go. More than adding weights is adding reps at first. So I try and add 1 rep every week or 2. Especially for like this exercise. It's hard to go from 20 pounds to increase it, the lowest increment I could do would be a 10% increase. And that is a lot. So I probably only add that after a month of doing these exercises. Probably about a month or so. Oh. And going back to the preacher curl. I think I'm going to do just 2 sets of arms because I've already worked some of my arms with the rows and the bench press, and I can feel they're pretty exhausted already. And I don't want to push so hard that I miss Wednesday's workout because of it. So I'm trying to really extend that arm to straighten that elbow all the way out. And to do that, I'm keeping my chest up. I think if you're low in salt, I'm just thinking more about your question about is salt good before a workout. I think if you are low in salt, then having enough salt going into the workout is good. Because you don't want to ever hit a point where you're really low sodium during a workout. And switching the other side. Definitely, I can definitely feel this in my arms. That's why I saved these to the end, these isolation workouts, when I'm most fatigued. It's a much smaller muscle. The bicep is smaller than the combination muscles we've been doing up to this point. So it's the least demand on my heart. I used to be doing the legs at this point in the workout. And I was thinking about it over the weekend of I really should put the legs at the beginning when my heart, my whole body is the most fresh. I don't have to worry about overheating nearly as much. And then go to these smaller muscle groups at the end. Should be leaning back. That's what's gonna get that length in the bicep. Oh, and last thing, we're going for skull crushers. You know, for me, my post-workout, I do a scoop of whey protein powder right away, and then I typically have lunch after, where I'm getting some vegetables, some carbohydrates, some protein, a little bit of fat, and where I'm restoring the muscle glycogen, the muscle sugars, because you actually have sugar stored in your muscle that you're using while you work out, and that gets replaced after the workout. And one more. Oh, because as you're working out, your muscle has a chemical in it that makes it more sensitive to insulin while you're working out. So it helps pull in nutrients into that muscle because you've worked it. As it's working, it's signaling your bloodstream to bring sugar and nutrients into the muscle to help it to restore and grow. And so it's good to fuel after you work out. That's why I like having some protein after where it's easily absorbed. Now, you have a window of time that window is actually longer than what we expected it to be. I used to hear within an hour of working out. It's probably longer than that from what we can tell. But sometime after is a good time, I think, to have lunch, have breakfast, doing it right before a meal. I think it's just a really smart way of doing it, so that's what I like. So I usually add a little bit of protein powder into this, fill it with water, and go for that right after working out because it's easy and convenient. So with that, we are all done working out. Hopefully we're able to find something to incorporate into your workout. If you like this sort of thing or like these workouts and want to join in for next time, I host these live streams at 11 o'clock Pacific time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and hope to see you guys there. Thank you everyone for being here. Good to see you.